Syndicate clowns have been given access to the explosive banana peel. It costs 2 TC and it does 30 damage when you slip on it. They have no description change between a normal banana peel, which is the one on the right, and the explosive one. And you can pick both up, but if you slip on a normal banana peel, obviously you just slip. But if you slip on the explosive one, and no, you can't actually slip on like 4 in one tile and instantly kill yourself. And it actually can rip up some cables, but that's really just not its primary use. C4 has had its cost doubled, and that includes C4 individually, went from 2 TC to 4 TC, and the C4 bundle has also been not doubled, but increased to 20 TC. So if you want to buy 8 C4 in a pack, you have to blow all your TC. This will make C4 much more situational. The exploding pen was added to the Syndicate's arsenal. The Class 4 explosive device contained within a standard pen comes with a 4-second fuse. So, put it on the ground and examine it. It has the same description. But here's the thing. A lot of people will pick up a pen and press Z on it to see if it's an energy pen. But if you press Z on this one, it starts a timer. You just don't hear anything. And I was on the outside of that one. And it's a pretty small explosion, as you can see. It's a cross shape area that only affects within a 3-tile radius and a cross. So it's not a huge explosion. If you stand on it with no explosive resistance, it is enough to crit you. The energy sword has received a very large buff. It has had its total damage increased to 30, so 15/15 heat. It has also been given some structural damage. However, its swing speed was reduced to normal. So if you test it on a target, which the dummy is considered structure, so that's where you're seeing the extra 4 damage come from, but it is doing its 30. And due to the fact that it actually does structure damage now, it's actually not a terrible tool for breaking things like reinforced windows. The energy sword is also unique in the fact that it doesn't really have a crit multiplier. It, for whatever reason, doesn't really do more damage on a perfect hit. So as you can see, it does 34, which really should be 30, because remember, subtract the 4 on structure. But if you hit a perfect green, it's only doing 38. And what that is for some reason, it just adds the blunt damage of the handle, as far as I can tell. So what you could do, if you wanted wide swing and you want to be maximum efficient, you don't have to fully charge it. So there's your Syndicate tip of the day. If you want a wide swing with the energy sword, don't even bother going for the green. Just swing basically as soon as you can, and you get your wide swing and don't lose your attack speed. Baseball bats and spears have had their damage values changed. We'll start with the spear. The spear by default does 12 units of piercing now, and when you wield it, it goes up to 16. So what's interesting here is that the spear is now better unwielded than it was before, but it actually does less damage overall when wielded. Bat now does 10 blunt in one hand, and it now does 18 blunt in 2 hands. Zombies now drop their headsets when they die, so as you can see I have my passenger headset on. The headset drops on the floor. So that basically just makes it so zombies can't listen into your comm, so feel free to communicate with anyone that you possibly can that you're not infected, because they can't use that against you. The Riot armor, helmet, and suit have been re-sprited, so I'll just put them on for you and take off the backpack. Overall, the sprite is more consistent with the art style that we have in 14, and I think it looks really nice, and the helmet especially I think looks really cool because you can actually see your face under it, and like lets you see your glasses and such. Also, shells can actually be put on tables now. They no longer just go under the table, which is really nice looking and lets you, I mean, just make your room or wherever just look more decorated. Plus, it was also really annoying having to like right-click every single table to make sure there wasn't shells or ammo just underneath them. Caustic Damage has been recategorized, and as you can see, Caustic is now under Burn. So Chem could actually make medicine to counter Caustic Damage, but one of the more common ways is actually to work with Botany, because they can grow Galaxy Thistle, which Galaxy Thistle on its own will grind into Stellabinin, and that is already extremely powerful way to cure caustic damage. And I'm not going to explain all of chemistry. And just FYI, a lot of poisons have actually been redone to do caustic damage. So it might be in botany's best interest to grow some of this, and Chem is going to have to learn the new recipes. The Arrivals Terminal and Arrivals Shuttles have been added to the game. So now when you late join, you'll come into this, I'd say it's a U-shape, this U-shaped area, and on both ends there's two arms that extend downwards where the arrival shuttle will dock. All you need to do is simply open the doors, get on the shuttle, and wait for it to take you to the station. After a short trip in FTL, you will arrive at the station at the arrivals dock. We are now here, and I would heavily advise you to get off the arrival shuttle, because if you don't get off the arrival shuttle in time, you will be left behind and stuck into space. Escape pods have also been added, and they are tied to the emergency shuttle, so when the emergency shuttle leaves, the escape pods will leave. But you definitely need to buckle down because there's no gravity on these things. They are as bare bones as they get. The whole purpose is just to get you out of the station. We are now in this tiny ass pod barreling through space faster than light towards CENTCOM. Cargo's had a slight rework. The mechanics of it aren't necessarily different, but now they use the FTL system. So before you would just go to this console over here, and you'd have to recall the shuttle or call it in order to sell and buy things. Now it is just handled here with the FTL destinations. So for this one, there's a trading post. You can't physically go there, it's not a real thing yet, but you can even see on the right, there's actual the FTL timer, you can see it's actually moving, and now it is here. While we're also here, you can see that radars were heavily improved, and it gives a much more accurate representation of the actual size of the station and the spacing, and it's color-coded. Overall, it just looks really nice. Telecommunications has been... The second part of telecommunications has been added. So we already had the telecommunications servers from last week, but now the encryption keys in them actually matter. So if I tear out the encryption key, as you can see, I'll type on the engineering radio, hello. It works. I can receive myself. And if I rip out the encryption key, so now I have the engineering encryption key in my hand, there is now no longer a engineering encryption key. As you can see, the engineering channel does not work, and it says failed to send message. So if you were to unpower this whole room, let's just say by removing the SMES and substation, now none of the radio channels will work. So this is definitely a new Syndicate target. So a lot changed this week, and I still didn't even cover it all because it's just so much. I want you to thank every one of our contributors and maintainers for the awesome work they do to the game. I shall scroll slowly through the changelog just in case you missed something. And yeah, like I said, there was just a ton. Lots of bug fixes, lots of content. This time I just focused on the content because otherwise this video would actually be 20 minutes long, and that's just a long time. But really, really cool stuff this week.